Welcome. We are exploring steps for Vedic mathematics referencer. Today, in this step 17, our focus is to remain upon volume 8, which is about the mathematical domain of Ganita Sutra 8, Purana Apurana Bhyam. Number 8 is a unique numeral as it accepts an organization 2 raised to power 3. It is unique as it is the only prime, 2 is the only prime whose cube is taking us to this value. Further, we know that it is value, TC value of the formulation 8. TC value of formulation 8 is 8. Therefore, it is 1, which is equal to 1 square, which is equal to 1 cube value wise, and 2 raised to power 3 is the second member of the sequence of the cube values. Next member here is going to be 3 raised to power 3, and like that 4 raised to power 3, 5 raised to power 3 are the values of the range of a sequence of the cube values, which has its own importance, and it is here that it is the second member of this cube. Then value 8 is the Asht-Prakriti. It is eightfold nature. Eightfold nature. The formulation Asht is of TC value 11, while value Prakriti is of TC value 18, together leading to value 29, which is parallel to the TC value of Brahma, the overlord of a 4 space. It is hypercube 4, a 4 space body whose features are parallel to the features of 4-head Lord Brahma, creator the supreme. Therefore, the value 8 as Asht-Prakriti of TC value 29 of organization 11 and 18 is of such a feature that 11 is equal to the 11 versions of hypercube 5, and it is equal to the 11 geometries range, 11 geometries range of 5 space, and value 18 is equal to the summation value of 4-fold manifestation layer of hypercube of 5. These features are simultaneously playing their role while we will be appreciating the organization and formulation Asht-Prakriti. We have to keep these features in our mind while we will be trying to comprehend and imbibe the features of Vedic mathematical domain of Ganita Sutra 8 to be compiled as a referencer, volume 8. Let us visit the text of Sutra 8. Text of Sutra 8 is a text of 16 letters, and these 16 letters are leading us to TCV values 5631, 72, 5631, 728129. Now these values, as these are having the organizing thread in terms of which the mathematical domain of Ganita Sutra 8 is organized. Therefore, sadhakas fulfilled with intensity of urge to be parallel with the mathematical domain of Sutra 8 Purana Apurana Bhyam shall be parallel with the TCV values of these 16 letters. And we will see that Sutra 1 is of 16 letters range. It begins with the first letter of TC value 6. Now Sutra 8 is also of the range of 16 letters and its first letter is of TC value 8. However, when these 16 letters, say here is the 8 and here is 16, then these Sutra 8 will initiate its values from here. Here is the value 5. Now this range of values again will be coordinated starting with 8 and ultimately here the value will come 1. But this cycle we will see. Before that, let us also have in our mind that TC values is the one feature only. There are going to be other features, and amongst them the features are of TTCV, transcendence, TC value, FTCV, frequency transcendental code value, FTCV, formulations, HTCV, the hypercube formats, TRCV, transcendence ranges, and SRTCV, the synthesis of the transcendence ranges. So these 16 letters are having, amongst others, these features of TCV, TTCV, FTCV, FTCV, HTCV, TRCV, and SRTCV. These are the 7 folds features of the transcendent code values of the individual letters. We are having 16 letters and each letter is having the 7 folds, and from here we see how there is internal expansion of the mathematical domain of Purana Apurana Bhyam. We have to be parallel with each of the folds, each of the 7 folds of TCV values of each letter. Therefore, it is 16 into 7 is equal to 112 features, and these features will be the features of spatial order and solid order simultaneously coming into play. We know it is square and it is a cube, and square we know is of NC value 81 while cube is of value 31, together making it to be 182, and it is the NVF value of mathematics itself. Therefore, the mathematics of Ganita Sutras will be the mathematics of the hypercube 2 and hypercube 3 simultaneously manifesting. Now see how the hypercube 2 and hypercube 3 simultaneously manifest, and before that let us see that if we are having a closed interval, then this closed interval will permit its split at any of its middle points in the form of a closed interval and half closed interval. It is this split of the closed interval into a closed interval and half open interval. So this closed interval is complete. Closed interval, it is Purana, and half closed interval is incomplete, as here one of the endpoints, this endpoint is missing. So it is not a part of this interval, half closed interval. It is incomplete. It is apur. As such, purna bhyam would mean that the closed interval is a setup of closed interval and half closed interval. So every closed interval at each of its points is leading us to a closed interval, and the other part, complementary part of half closed interval, even if stands ignored, then still we are at the same structure of a closed interval, and this process is to continue ad infinitum. It is this ad infinitum feature of split of a closed interval into a closed interval and half closed interval which is going to become the basis of the mathematical domain of Gumita Sutra 8, Purna Apurna Bhyam. Now, if instead of a closed interval we are at hypercube 2, so interval is hypercube 1, it is, and at the next H2 we will be having a square. Same way, the square will permit a split into a square and the open square. This square is square, complete square and incomplete square. So interval hypercube 1, square hypercube 2 and cube hypercube 3. Likewise, there will be a split for a cube into a complete cube and incomplete cube. This split is there that we will be having a complete cube, and then the incomplete cube would be there, and it will be there because of the internal surface being not available here, as it remains the part of the complete interval. So this split of into H1 and H1 minus the point means H0. Here it is H2 which splits into H2 minus H1. Here it is H3 which splits into H3 and minus H2. It is Hn which splits into Hn and H minus Hn minus 1. This is the geometrical interpretation or geometrical meaning of the formulation Purna Purna Bhyam. Arithmetic operation, as we say, it is complete and incomplete. And incomplete. Here it will be a geometric formats. Now let us have a pause here and see how a cube, say a complete cube, means the value 1 raised to power 3. It is a setup of 27 structural components, means 8 corner points. There are 12 edges. There are 6 surfaces and there is 1 volume. This is 27 and it is equal to 3 raised to power 3. So when we are having one cube, here we are having line a value 1, and this line as value 1 is H1, and H1 is having 3 geometries. One space is having 3 geometries range. See, one cube is leading us to the structures 3 raised to the power 3. If we have a one space and interval, it makes a 1 raised to the power 3 as a domain, and here we are having 3 raised to the power 3 structural components because geometries of one space are 3. Now see, if we are having here value 2, domain will be 2 raised to the power 3, then 2 space has 5 geometries range, the structural components will be 5 raised to the power 3. Let us sit comfortably and permit the transcending mind to be parallel with this structural tabulation emerging sequentially. A cube is leading us to 27 structural components. However, when this cube is of length 2, then its volume will be equal to 8. So this cube, as of 2 units, is leading us to 2 raised to the power 3 value, means there is going to be split of it into 8 octants. And 2 we know is the spatial dimensional order of a 4 space. It is this feature which deserves to be comprehended well, as it is in terms of it we will be having an appreciation of the internal structure of a cube. How a cube as of volume 8 becomes a synthetic setup of 8 cubes as subcubes of the original cube, and the structural components comes to be 125. And we know it is here. When we say it is 125, then it amounts to that we are from Earth. We want to reach space Panchama-bhut, then Sun, and then pole star, and we see the total value. At a step ahead, at the 8th step of a Vishnu, the value comes to be 125. We know the Varga consonants are 5 cross 5, and these are of TC value 125. 125 is the age of Lord Krishna, the incarnation of Lord Vishnu within a human frame. The lifespan of Lord Krishna incarnation within Purusha format is of 125 revolutions of the earth around the sun. This mathematics, this organization format, are having pure values as well as the applied values. These pure values and applied values deserve to be chased simultaneously, parallelly. And it is this simultaneous chase of pure and applied values of mathematical domains of Ganita Sutras, particularly from Sutra 8 onwards, then we will be face to face with how the axioms of the modern mathematics, which are held up till the increase of hypercircle 7, or which are held up because of the everywhere continuous function is of nowhere derivable, and other mathematical conditionings of the axioms. We will have an answer for all those problems. So students of Vedic mathematics who are interested to have a simultaneous knowledge of the limitations of the modern mathematics, who want to be parallel with the approach and reach of the Vedic mathematics of the comprehension and vision of Vedas, they shall attend with deep attention the mathematical domain of Purana Purnabhyam as the range of values, features of Asht-Prakriti. The eightfold nature is being chased by Ganita Sutras in terms of the mathematical domain of Ganita Sutra 8. As in the previous session we have noticed that if we want to have the parallel values reach with the reach of the modern mathematics, then we shall follow the applied values format of Ganita Sutra 7, which emerges to be a coordination of the core of the earth with the orb of the sun. So Sutra 7 will take us up till the entire reach whatsoever it has been of the modern mathematics. But to transcend therefrom, we have to have a fresh initiation with the mathematical domain of Ganita Sutra 8 as value 8 as 2 raised to power 3 is the second member of the sequence of the cubes. First member is 1 raised to power 3. If we will insist upon the linear progressions, if we will insist that the space is to be approached within a three-dimensional frame of triple linear axis, then we will be at the limitations. We will have the conditioning. We will be held up as the modern mathematics is held up. However, whatever stands achieved in terms of a linear progression approach for our universe, then all that will be attainable when we will approach the Vedic mathematical values along the organization, coordination of the core of the earth with the orb of the sun. However, if we are to transcend therefrom, if we have met all those limitations, then we have to initiate afresh, and we have to initiate with the mathematical domain of Ganita Sutra 8. In a way, we have to transcend from value 7, from 7 geometries range of 3 space to value 8, parallel to the eightfold solid boundary of hypercube 4. That means we have to reach from 3 space as a domain, as a cube, to 3 space in the role of a boundary. And it is this linear progression to this curvature, this line transformation into a circumference is going to be the feature, initial feature, and ultimately it is going to be the format of hypercube 4, which would mean the center of the cube, which would mean the core of the earth. And then in terms thereof, we will be having a transcendence from value 7 to value 8, and it will help us appreciate why hypercircles 1 to 7 increase and why there is a decrease from hypercircle 8 onwards, as there is insistence in the axioms of the linear progression rule, which is bound to held up, which is bound to take up only up till the 7 geometry range of a cube. To transcend therefrom, we have to transcend from the role of 3 space as a domain to role of 3 space as a boundary. So it is the solid boundary of a 4 space which will become the initiation point, and it is with it that we will be reaching from a line to a circle, means we will reaching a vrit, and vrit we know is of value 20, TC value 20, and TC value 20 we know is a synthesis of 0 order transcendence ranges. And further we know that value 20 is the TC value of a Ved, and this is equal to the value of a Dev, and that is why the divine powers, the Devatas, and the phenomenon of reach from Agni, fire, to Tej, a glow. So the reach from Agni, fire, to Tej, flow, is the transition, is the transcendence which stands attained with a jump from value 7 to value 8. So mathematics of Ganita Sutras, Vedic mathematics from Sutra 8 onwards becomes the mathematics of a spatial order, the mathematics of the Vedic order, the mathematics of creators of space, mathematics of the manifested creations of formates which will permit transcendence therefrom at its origin, as means the 5 space is playing the role of an argent. We will be continuing, we will be carrying forward this thread in the next session. Thank you very much.